presentation, maybe I should say, good morning, citypreneurs, because that's what I'm going to call you, citypreneurs, because really the work that you'll do needs to take a different direction in understanding your value as a town planner, as a developer, etc., etc. So you can flag that for me, please. Sure. So you're saying the planners who understand entrepreneurship will design the cities that attract the world's investment. So you've got to, as a town planner, as an architect, you've got to understand entrepreneurship. Because if you don't pursue that journey, then you will not design cities that attract investment and opportunities. By 2050, nearly 70% of people globally will live in cities. Africa will become the fastest urbanizing continent. Cities will generate over 80% of the GDP globally. And question is, who will design those cities? It is the people that are sitting in the room. So you've got to adopt a mindset of an entrepreneur. And today we want to then challenge the traditional role of planning, where we're saying planning is no longer about the land use. Planning is about economic transformation. Town planners create economies. Our last speaker here, I think, expressed that very well, right? Town planners create jobs. Town planners unlock billions in investment. Town planners stimulate tourism. Town planners create property value. Town planners plan and shape the future. And you cannot do that if your mindset has not been transfigured into an entrepreneurial thinking individual in your profession. There are entrepreneurs, then there are entrepreneurs. An entrepreneur is a person that's getting, like you as a town planner, gets employed by me to work for me. So you are a manager within my organization. An entrepreneur is me that creates ideas and innovations and employs you. This day, you need to be diverse. You've got to be sitting on board positions. So that is how we need to view town planning from today, and I'm sure many of you have been viewing town planning in that perspective. Please give me a second slide. So why do cities win, right? Singapore, Dubai, Barcelona, Amsterdam, why did they win? Why were they able to create such smart cities? They had a vision. They had a master plan. They had an investment attraction strategy and strong planning frameworks. And that should be able to come from our planners, our citypreneurs, right? The citypreneurs mindset, from planner to citypreneurs. So we need to stop being traditional planners, move away from zoning, compliance, and reporters to become city entrepreneurs that focus on investment attraction, economic development, innovation, revenue generation. And you can only think like that, or you can only be that once you've got a paradigm shift, right? So today's workshop is really simple. I've been asked to do a very simple job, and I'm glad I was not asked to speak like the other speakers. It's really to take you through the Canvas model, and which I will best guarantee that majority of you know what a Canvas model is, right? Yep. Right. To equip town planners with entrepreneurial tools to transform planning expertise into profitable planning businesses, smart city enterprises, development opportunities, investment attraction initiatives, and city urban solutions. Now, I want to take my workshop from the context of what I'm busy working on. I'm busy working on a program called Smart Cities Go Digital. And I was talking to Ria earlier on about that, and she's already told me that she's linking up with the city of Joburg, and that's done. I'm looking on how we're gonna bring our last speaker in, the lady that left. So I've already created my network here in the room, and I'm done. Right. So from the context of the Smart Cities Go Digital, I know it's a very a very big elephant, but it is well structured a program that I'm working in. And then also there's another second program that I'm working on, which is called MSMEs Go Green, Enterprise Development Program. Now, I hardly come across those lines in the South African corridors of small business development. I am pro entrepreneurs, I am pro MSMEs, and that's why my organization focuses on enterprise development, advocacy for small businesses, workshops, skills development, etc. We do that through collaboration with government, corporate, CETAs, etc. I'm pro skills and evolving as an entrepreneur. Somebody asked a question earlier on how do I become basically that entrepreneur? You know, if your mindset is about evolving and going out there and becoming a researcher, that's my next career in life. I want to be a researcher, because if I'm a researcher, I know everything, right? If you take a stone and you throw it in the water, what happens? It's got a ripple effect. Yeah. And if you want to master your sector and you become a leader and a pioneer in your sector, be that ripple effect, where you understand your sector so well that you understand the sector outside that sector, understand the sector outside that, just like a ripple effect, right? That allows your mind to work so quick in innovating, in solving problems, which is what we need in society. That's what an entrepreneur should be, that ripple effect, right? We are in an age where you need to be a doctor, an entrepreneur doctor. You need to be a city planner, a citypreneur. You can't wear one hat these days. The previous speaker spoke about going to workshops, months workshop, 6 months, 12 months, a year, etc. If you're an academia that you want to go for 3 years, 5 years and study. By the time you finish, by the way, what you're studying to become absolute because of AI. I'm not discouraging you. Doctors, I read an article the other time, I think it was 3 years ago, that an MBA becomes absolute in a year or two. Mm-hmm. And that's disturbing. So as much as we want to be passionate about education, let's really be passionate, for me, more about skills, and the practicality of your sector. So be that entrepreneur, be that citypreneur that understands what the ripple up. If I can leave you with that, I could close this laptop and go right now. Your mindset should think ripple effect. Know my space, know my neighbor, know my city, know my community, and know the community that lives next to my community, because you are able to solve problems when you've got this knowledge that's got a ripple effect. All right, let's get to the Canva, the business model canvas. All right, this is a very basic structure, and I think earlier on, the speaker, I think it was you that was asking a question about the ventilating system, etc. And she asked you a question that actually made you think outside the box, which is basically, she was asking, what is your value proposition? So when you step into the space, understand what is the value proposition. What is a frustration of the customer? What is a frustration of the municipality? What is the frustration of the community? What is a frustration of the university? Understand what the frustration is, and then based on that, you come up with the solution. Don't bring the solution before you can understand what the problem is. So value proposition is very, very important when you're starting off your business idea, your enterprise, etc. Which one of your customers' problems are you helping to solve? Answer that question in clarity, in one sentence. I'll show you later on when I'm going through the examples, how you can answer that. Right. What bundles of products and services are you offering to each customer to solve those problems? That's what value proposition should be speaking on. And really the characteristics of value proposition should be, is this a new idea? Is this solving new, is this newness? Is this about newness? Is it about performance? Is it about customization, getting the job done? Is it about brand or status? Is it about price? Is it about cost reduction? Is it about risk reduction? So these characteristics should form part of how you can streamline your value proposition to make it a spear that penetrates anything, to a sharp-edged sword, the Bible calls it, right? It must be sharp on both sides. So define your value proposition crystal clear and be able to articulate it, because that is what will attract your customer. When you walk into the CEO's office and I'm saying I want them to partner with the Smart Cities summit, Smart Cities Go Digital Summit, I must have a very clear one sentence on why they should support that. Right? So value proposition is very important. Now I'm going to try and link these. They're not necessarily in order, but I'm going to try and link them in an order that will kind of make sense for you. So value proposition is important. So once you have the value or the solution that you have for a client, let's go to key activities that you must execute to get this value proposition across. Right? We'll speak about what are the key activities do your value proposition require. Our distribution channels, customer relations, revenue streams, and the category under that will be production, problem solving, and platform or network. So you must basically know what resources what do I have to do in order for me to get my value proposition across. The little things that you must do. I'll make an example. Technology R&D. Okay, I need to research. I'm coming up with a smart meter for the city of Joburg because I've got leaks everywhere. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because I've got leaks. All right, because they've got potholes in the city of Joburg. So my key activities. Let me go research what technology R&D I have to do. What research do I have to do in terms of technology, right? Production. All right, I need to produce a mock-up, right? So in order for me to produce a mock-up, I must have a designer to be able to design that for me. So find the key activities that you've got to do in order for you to take your vision to the client that you want to solve a problem for. And then from activities, it actually interlinks with the resources. What resources would you need in order for you to get your activities across? What key resources do our value proposition require? Our distribution channels require, our customer relations require, etc., etc. And under key resources, you speak about physical or intellectual, which is brand patents, copyright, data, human resource, or financial resources. So you've got to come to a very clear description of the type of resources you will need in order for you to execute your activities. A simple example, I will need a laptop to draft my business plan or my business proposal for my value proposition. That's a very, very simple way to look at it. And then I will then go, so I did value proposition, I did key activities, and then I did resources. And then I probably should have done partners. And I'll tell you why I should have done partners maybe before the activities and resources. Like this should have been second. If you are a nobody, please excuse lack of my proper words. If you are a nobody wanting to become a somebody, you need to use the power of leveraging. There are structures and associations that have got vast experience in the space that you want to enter. And when you collaborate with them, you leverage from their brand and their profile and their image in order for you to attract people that can now trust you because they trust them. So if I'm organizing a Smart Cities Go Digital Summit and I'm in partnership with the City of J, and I go to Standard Bank and I say, Standard Bank, me and the City of J are organizing, leveraging from partners. Right? So clearly put a list of partners that you need to have in order for you to achieve your vision. That's very, very important. In your case, as a town planner, you need to partner with municipalities, property developers, universities, technology companies, investors, SEZs. I love LEDs and SEZs are my next journey. Assess research, and those two are like left and right. SEZs and LEDs are very critical. These are the key. Those two are the key drivers of the economy, especially when it comes to local government or local municipality, I should say. Right. So as a citypreneur, those are the critical partners that you got to partner with. And then from partners, we get to let's get to channels. What do you need to have? Which channels do you need to use to communicate with your clients or potential clients? If I'm selling, I'll keep on making an example about the Smart Cities Go Digital. and I want to attract great speakers, I must go on LinkedIn, post on LinkedIn, find CEOs on LinkedIn, find executives that focus on green economy on LinkedIn, and tell them this is what I'm doing. So I must know where my clients, what mode of communication or platform my clients use to communicate or to receive information. So that's also very, very important. Channels. Through which channels do our customer segments want to be reached? If you send me a post on Facebook, I'm not going to take you serious because there's so many unseriousness, with people on Facebook these days. But if I receive a message on LinkedIn, I know this is a potential that this could be, a business venture that I could venture into. So understand the channels that your clients usually use to communicate. Also very important. Let's get to the cities and the officials of the cities and the municipalities actually. If I want to get the attention of the city manager or LED manager, let me use an LED manager for example. If I try to talk to them on LinkedIn, they probably not want to listen to me. But if I send them an email, they will listen, right? So you must also understand the person behind the portfolio, right? So that's what will give you an awareness of which channel to be able to use. Are you following me? That's fine, right? How are you reaching them? How are your channels integrated? You need to make sure that you integrate your channels also, right? Which ones work best? If you identify a single thing that works, there's a book that teaches about working outside your business instead of inside your business. That's really all about business systems. If you can create, actually, an entrepreneur is supposed to be able to operate a business through systems. If you're still running your business and you are running it from in the business, the chances are your growth is really going to happen after a very long time. So build business systems. And why I'm saying what I'm saying is actually going back to the point of saying, once something works, use it again, and if it's continue working, use it again and again. So you take that and then start creating a system out of it or a model out of it, right? Okay, so from channels, so we went from value proposition to obviously not in the order now, to partners that you're going to have, to key activities that you must implement, to what resources you need, to the channels that you're going to use to talk to them, and then also here, customer relations. Customer relations. What type of relationship does each of your customer segments expect us to establish and maintain with them? Which ones have you established, and how are they integrated with the rest of the business model, and how costly are they? So customer relations is so important, because if you do not know how to manage customer relations, you do not know how to manage your customers. Yeah, right. So we need to be able to learn how to manage our customers. It could be some things could be as simple as let's just say my customer's birthday. I'm knowing my customer's birthday date. During his birthday or her birthday, I send them a card, a gift to say happy birthday. That's part of customer relations, by the way. Right? That was a very simple example that I wanted to make to you. And then customer segment, there's different tiers to customers, right? There are those that are high-end customers, there are those that are middle-class customers, then there are those that are low-end customers. So you must identify based on the partners. Use the partners to also determine what type of customer segment you want to focus on. So for whom are we creating value? Who are our most important customers? Is our customer base a mass market? Right? So this way now we start to segment it. Is it a niche market? Is it a niche market? Segmented, diversified, multi-sided market. If I'm manufacturing designer clothes, right? Usually that's a high-end market, right? If I'm designing something new, it's probably for the niche market. So you must identify your target market. So you must be able to segment or divide your target market. So that's very, very important. Now, the ability to segment your target market allows you to be able to come up with price, allows you to be able to come up with a communication channel, right? It allows you to be able to know what key activities you will do. So all these are interlinked to each other. Once you find one working in isolation, the chances are you're not well designed, right? So customer segmenting allows you to be able to set your price right, to be able to know what channels of communication you must use, right? And then we go to cost structure, right? What are the most important costs inherent in our business model? Which key resources are most expensive? Which key activities are most expensive? So basically, here you're developing your cost structure. What it's going to cost you, right? And usually, cost structure is driven by cost driven by Leonard's cost structure, low price value proposition, maximum automation, extensive outsourcing, value driven focus on value creation, premium value proposition. And the characteristics are, these are fixed costs like salaries, rents, utilities, variable costs, economies of scale, economies of scope, right? So you must be able to know how to structure your cost structure. And then lastly, revenue. Where is your revenue coming from, right? So we need to understand exactly where our value proposition revenue will come from, whether it's subscription, whether you're charging per month, etc. You need to know your value proposition. So I just want to quickly take you through a much more practical exercise with proper examples. So I'm certain we all understand this, right, and how it interlinks with each other, how each segment interlinks with another segment. So value proposition, key activities, resources needed, what pain are you solving, what activities are you going to implement in order for you to be able to get your value proposition to your client, what resources you're going to need, the partners that you need to have, customer relations, customer segment, channels, etc. I've used more key partners leveraging in my business as much as I could, because I found out that when you associate, your network is your network, right? When you associate, people trust you better. But just make sure that your value proposition is stable. Because once you bring someone on board and you're trying to bring them on board using leveraging, and you come and present and you keep on rejecting, you keep getting rejected, it will demoralize you, to break your confidence. So work on your value proposition. Very, very important. Work on your value proposition. So I want to quickly go to, because I was told I must hurry up with this, and I hope I did justice. To quickly go to a much more practical scenario that I created here. I should have done this before I got here on stage. But we are all in understanding of this, right? 100%. And how, as an entrepreneur or citypreneur, you can start navigating yourself. Starting, they say, is the hardest exercise. And repetition for me is the antidote to success. Repeat. The Bible talks about repetition all the time. Athletes will show you that repetition makes you a great athlete, an elite athlete, etc. So let's use a scenario of, like I said, I want to speak from the context of smart cities. Value proposition. Let's talk about what is broken in the city, right? As a citypreneur, you got to identify that. Maybe, for example, what is the mayor's frustration? Potholes, I said. Water losses, it's crime, it's house backlog, urban decay, tourism decline, waste management, unemployment. So those just practical examples of what you can look at also. And then identifying the city's opportunities, what economic opportunities exist, and with that, every challenge creates demand, right? Every challenge, as a town planner, as an entrepreneur, when you see a challenge, you should know that there's an opportunity there. Let's not be lazy to think and innovate. And remember, the best way to think and innovate is to be. That's the best way to think and innovate. Stop complicating life. They say entrepreneurship is hard. I agree. But I also think the best solution to the hardship of entrepreneurship is a well-researched individual with a mission to be obsessed about being a researcher, because that solves the majority of the problem. Right? Being an expert, being a person who understands. The Bible talks about knowledge. The three keys to heaven. Three keys to the kingdom: wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Those are the three keys to the kingdom that the Bible talks about. And by the way, take those three keys and you literally put them into your entrepreneurship journey. You will be a master in what you do. When you search for knowledge, understanding, and operate through wisdom. And by the way, wisdom. Someone says, "Where do I get wisdom from?" Majority of wisdom is obtained through experience. If you want to learn how to swim, I can do a presentation here and give you the manual. But until you get into the water and learn how to swim, you'll be able to. Then I can call you a swimmer. You're not a swimmer until you swim, right? Yeah. So use those three keys to the kingdom and apply them into your business if you really want to become an effective entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur says, "Oh, this is easy. Why do you say it's difficult?" Right? We're not saying you're not going to find hurdles. You will, but those hurdles that you will find as a person who specializes in the three keys of the kingdom are only hurdles that are there to build your muscle. Only building your muscle, only making you a better person, only making you a person that thinks about how do I evolve as a human being. Right? So I think program director, I want to stop here. Yeah, I want to stop here because of time. But this for me, if we can study this canvas model, practice it, it will help solve many of your problems when you're starting off in business as a startup. So with that, program director, thank you so much for inviting me here. I will probably just get an opportunity if anyone wants to ask questions.
Yes, of course.
I would hope that I did a good presentation that no one has questions. But yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, can we give a hand, please?